In the world of anime, there are these amazing times when all the heroes team up to fight a big bad villain. These epic battles become legendary in anime because they show how powerful teamwork can be. So we've done our research and narrowed down a list to show the top moments when everyone teamed up to fight the villain in anime. We start with Jujutsu Sorcerers vs Genjaku. Right after we'd finally gotten to see Mahito get his butt kicked, Genjaku entered the picture and the Kyoto Jujutsu Sorcerers came along to fight against him along with Choso, Panda and Yuji. You'd think that these sorcerers in a death painting womb would be enough to face off against Genjaku, but you'd be mistaken. Genjaku was an absolute beast and he could have handled everyone even without Urami's help. He showed how he easily beat everyone up pretty casually and neglected all of their attacks. Even Miwa using a binding vow was of no use in the fight and just showed how strong Genjaku is. If Aizen is disrespectful, Genjaku literally rejected Miwa from having a moment of redemption. Overall, the fight was awesome and seeing a new style of Uzumaki was just eye candy. I just imagine how good it would have been if Yuta appeared. Next up on the list, we have Oken against everyone from Ranking of Kings. Now Oken is an exceptionally powerful villain, being a former commander of the Order of the Underworld. To defeat this terrifying foe, the big four master combatants had to face him off at the same time right after Boji had his battle with him. These masters were exceptionally powerful, but Oken's immortal body allowed him to take all of their blows and regenerate back like nothing even happened. It wasn't until the reincarnated boss joined the fight that we saw Oken taste defeat. Well, he was literally crushed and stuffed into a rock, but watching this fight scene and seeing the heroes join together and win at the end was just so satisfying. Next, we have the Z Fighters teaming up to fight Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Before the Tournament of Power, we had the Cell games, and before that, we were shown how big of a threat this guy truly is. Even during Cell's initial form, he was a force to be reckoned with, and the androids had to team up with the Z Fighters to have a fighting chance. Piccolo, Tien, Android 16, Android 17, and Android 18 took part in this battle, and they effectively got their butts handed to them. In the beginning, everyone had put up a pretty good fight, but once Cell absorbed Android 17, the tables turned completely on our heroes. The dude was a devastating villain overall, and ultimately flexed his strength in the entirety of this fight. Although, admittedly, Cell didn't look too terrifying for a villain at first since he looked so much like a bug. The power he displayed fighting against everyone certainly bumped him up the list. Coupled with the power-up from Android 17, Cell became the biggest threat at that time. Slipping into the list, we have Utsuro as he takes on literally everyone in Gintama.
わからない。
Utsuro arrives and his Naraku completely obliterates anyone that stands in their way. Gintoki's allies were in big trouble, but luckily more and more of them arrived to drive the Naraku and Utsuro back. From the Shinsengumi to the Yato tribes to ninjas, the fighting was pure brutality, with Utsuro just massacring Gintoki's allies. It was a battle of epic proportions, and true to his name as one of Gintama's ultimate villains, Utsuro was dealing too much damage even if he was wounded. Also, Utsuro is immortal too, just like Oken, so you can see a pattern here where immortal villains normally have multiple heroes, or more specifically in this case, two armies facing off against them to stand a chance. Everyone was giving their all just to defeat this one guy, and you'd literally get goosebumps watching it. Everyone facing off against Goliath from Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Goliath wasn't a particularly smart villain, but its power and defense were off the charts. It was literally like a raid boss in any RPG game you'd play. Bell's group and the expedition group had to work together to take it down. Our heroes got bashed around for the better part of the fight, even though everyone was combining their strengths. The Goliath's monstrous figure made it seem like the heroes could face their end at any point, and this made the stakes even higher. The number of cool attacks from Gravity Sword to Fire Moon looked absolutely stunning, making Danmachi one of the better animated isekai. The fight was awesome from start to finish. The tension, the build-up, and then the final clashes were all gorgeously executed and was one of the fights that propelled Bell's reputation. Next, we have the 7 deadly sins against the Demon King. Even those who haven't seen the anime must know the high stakes of the fight, since the villain is literally named the Demon King. We all know how strong Demon Kings normally are considering their namesake, and this one was amongst the strongest in all of anime. We already saw a giant monster in the last entry, but the Demon King here was as large as an entire country. Our heroes are nothing to scoff at, but the Demon King's power completely dwarfed them. That's what made the entire fight so awesome, as we got to see all of the sins fight at max power and showcase their most awesome abilities. Meliodas then fully countered the massive spell everyone launched multiple times to finally devastate the Demon King, which to me was a 10,000 IQ move. It was a perfect boss fight that marked the first steps towards the end of their journey. Now we're switching from monstrous villains to human-sized villains for this entry. We have Altair versus everyone from Recreators. I say that they're human-sized, but that doesn't mean that they aren't powerful. Altair was, in all regards, the ultimate creation of Setsuna Shimazaki, and her plan was to have worlds collide to bring about massive destruction and destroy all creation from both the real world and the story worlds. She also had the strength and intelligence to back it up, and so all our heroes had to band together to even have the chance of stopping her. They couldn't initially do much though, as we can literally see Altair casually beating up the heroes one after the other without even batting an eyelid. It wasn't until Sirius showed up that Altair had to put in a little bit more effort. Overall, this fight was gorgeously animated, not to mention how the soundtrack was an absolute banger. The team up led to a stunning battle that had you on your toes for the entirety of it. Slamming his way on this list is a corrupted golem against everyone from Princess Connect. This battle is much like the one with Goliath, where a bunch of our adventurers take down a huge monster. Oh, and there are cute girls in this fight, so that's always a plus, isn't it? The stakes aren't too high, but that doesn't mean the battle itself isn't spectacular. The animation may possibly be the best amongst the entries on this list until now, and even more colourful than the battle in Recreators. Seeing as how the golem had a whole army of minions, we can't even call the odds unfair for the villain. It wasn't an easy fight, as well as at one point you'd think the heroes had exhausted themselves, but then Pecorine comes to the rescue with one more power-up and finally decimates the weakened golem with an attack that finally made me breathe again. You might think that there were no action scenes in an anime named Princess Connect, but that's where you're wrong. Destroying his way into this list, we have Shigaraki versus our heroes from My Hero Academia. Fans watching the series already know that Shigaraki is being developed as an astounding antagonist, but at this point in the anime, he'd gotten to a completely different level. Shigaraki literally made a large number of pro-heroes run from his power as he almost disintegrated an entire city. To fight the villain, Bakugo, Deku, Eraserhead, Hawks, Endeavor, Gran Torino, and Ryuko had to team up. It just goes to show how much of a threat Shigaraki was. Even with Eraserhead neutralizing Shigaraki's quirks, he still proved to be too much of a threat to everyone around him. Near the end, Shigaraki had effectively injured and taken out most of the heroes before All For One showed up to wipe out everyone. It sure is one heck of a fight that'll leave you falling from your seat, since the heroes were clearly not the strongest around. And it's also one of the few moments where the villains actually win. But we won't be stopping here, since next on the list we have Kirito and the gang versus the 100th floor boss from Sword Art Online. You know the heroes are in for a tough fight when epic boss music starts playing. Also, I must say that the boss sure has one of the coolest designs on this list. It's literally a huge, angelic and demonic being with multiple huge swords and some overpowered long-range lasers. Not to say that our heroes were any less since they displayed some super flashy moves. The battle involves epic choreography as you see the characters work together while fighting this overpowered boss, and this is a testament to the animators since they gorgeously animated all of it. Even with all of the chaos and dazzling lights, it wasn't too difficult following the combat, and the entire moment top tier. I mean, there was quite literally magic, swords and guns. The team even gave fans a sweet hit of nostalgia by having Kirito and Asuna transform into their old clothes and designs, as well as the appearances of characters from the different seasons of SAO. You'll get literal goosebumps. Moving on this list is another monstrous being known as the medium against every nation from the anime Magi. It's a being full of fury that shows no emotion and simply intends to destroy the world. It's a lot like the 10-tailed beast from Naruto and just as powerful too. To defeat a beast that can possibly bring the destruction of the entire world, a significantly large team is required. In this case, some of the strongest magicians from every nation showed up to fight it, and they didn't disappoint. The best part was that we got to see extreme magic after it was launched by our heroes, and it looked pretty sweet. Even with all the magic being cast, the medium was still barely vulnerable until Aladdin noticed the hesitance in the beast and went to talk with Mogamed. The scale of this battle was just something else because it's kind of rare that these people fight together. Before entering the top 10 of this list, we have all the Fate Servants versus the Demon God King Gatia. Seems like team-ups against demon kings and gods are the way to go because it always seems to take more than one hero to fight off such cataclysmic villains. If you thought SAO had some cool cameos, then wait until you see this one because almost every single character is here. The amazing moves they pull off while battling Gatia to save mankind keep you on the edge of your seat. The fight scene also had some sweet background music to back all the amazing visuals that you see, and the clash of ideals makes everything all the better. From Gilgamesh to Rama to Quetzalcoatl to Mozart, they were ready to throw hands. Their entrance was so cold too, and I wish we could get another battle in Fate as big as this one. Before we reveal the top 10, how about giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you. Entering the top 10 of this list, we have Melzagard against the S-Class heroes in One Punch Man. Melzagard, classified as a dragon-level threat, possessed immense power. He demonstrated his strength by swiftly defeating Sky King, a monster comparable in level to the Deep Sea King, with just one blow. So it's no wonder that it required 4 S-Class heroes to beat the monster, and even then, it took quite a bit of work on their end considering Melzagard's regeneration abilities. Well, technically only Eon was the only one who got beat up by Melzagard, as the S-Class heroes took little to no damage during the entirety of the fight. Did I mention how good the animation during this team-up was? You can literally watch the fight at a quarter of the speed and see all of Atomic Samurai's movements while cutting up the villain. It was a rare chance to get to see the S-Class fighting together, and boy was it worth it. Next up we have Everyone versus Victor from Undead Unluck. And once again, regeneration is a big factor here. Fans of the series already know how strong Andy is with his regeneration abilities, but who'd have thought that he'd be hosting a villain like Victor inside himself, much like Itadori hosts Sukuna? Well, everyone got a taste of Victor when he appeared, and they all had to work together to have a fighting chance. Victor and Andy's regeneration multiplied by 100, which is crazy, seeing as Andy's regeneration was already crazy to begin with. Andy has to change to Victor to defeat Spoil, but then all members of the round table will have to show up just to force Victor to convert back to Andy. It's also very clear that Victor wasn't even going full force against everyone, since things would have ended much differently if that happened. All that aside, getting to see all the round table members go all out against the guy who can't die was a pretty cool battle to watch, and we probably won't get to see such a team up again in the anime anytime soon. Or will we? Who knows?
久々だな、人に負けるのは。
Flying its way into this list, we have former Claw members against Shimazaki from Mob Psycho 100.
ナイスだ、弟くん。ご発明。消滅。行動。
Shimazaki really showed off his strength during this fight, and even with a particularly powerful team-up of heroes and ex-villains, he still thrashed them fairly heavily. The fight had some high stakes in the fact that the heroes were technically fighting someone like Gojo Satoru. I say that loosely not to annoy fans of the series, but Shimazaki was pretty OP, which is why he had so many guys going after him simultaneously. The fight was pretty awesome and over the top considering Mob Psycho's godly animation style, and boy was it satisfying to see so much destruction. Wouldn't have minded seeing Mob in action too, but hey, I'm still happy with the team up I got. Next, we have an entry from one of the big three of shonen, Aizen versus the Gotei 13 and the Vizards. Aizen from Bleach was originally a captain in the Gotei 13, but then was revealed to be a villain who was one of the smartest characters in the series. So this fight was long in the making when Aizen finally faced off against the captains of Soul Society, along with a few former captains of Vizards. The team-up involved literally the strongest members of Soul Society, but they still couldn't hold a candle to the mastermind Aizen as he fought all of them together and brought them to their knees through his power, abilities, and just raw battle IQ. The fight marked a major turning point in the plot and helped the series showcase Aizen's power. It was pretty cool watching so many captains go up against Aizen and just be completely destroyed. What he did to Hitsugaya by making him kill one of his own subordinates was just too disrespectful. Too bad the team up resulted in a loss though. Just goes to show how strong Aizen truly was and how plot armor was the only thing that could defeat him. Coming in next, we have another recent team-up where the Scouts and Warriors fought against Eren from Attack on Titan. During the middle of the series, no one could have expected that the Scouts and Warriors, two factions opposing each other, would team up to fight an even bigger threat. And who would have thought that the threat would end up being the series' original protagonist? No wonder Attack on Titan is a masterpiece. That aside, to defeat Eren and his army of colossal titans, all the remaining Scouts, including Levi and Mikasa, had to work with the Warriors, such as Reiner and his gang. The fight was epic in every way possible with top-tier animation. This would be the last time we'd see Titans fight against each other, and the last time we'd see everyone go all out. Reiner was killing it, and we saw what would happen if the armored titans started becoming aggressive. Not only that, previous users of their titans also joined in, and it was one hell of an ending for a legendary series. Before we enter the top 3 of this list, we have Asta, Yuno, Yami, and the others against the Devil from Black Clover. We're not done with demons just yet, but this is going to be the last entry with such a being coming up as the villain. The first devil was such a strong opponent that it seemed like absolutely no one could ever beat him, even if everyone would all work together. The devil casually overpowered some of the strongest characters in the series, which made things more intense. The best moment was probably when Yami showed up to give Asta and Yuno a hand. The Dimension slash Yami launch to the devil, accompanied by some awesome music, surprised literally everyone, including the devil itself. Asta then surpassed his own limits to land the final blow, closing off an epic team up. Of course, the animation was top notch too, and so were all the flashy moves, so no wonder the team secured such a rank on this list. And come on, you got to admit, the devil plot twist was good. Coming in at number 3, we have everyone facing off against Father from Full Metal Alchemist. The final battle against Father involves a group effort from various characters as they fight in Central Command. Father harnesses incredible alchemical powers and attempts to ascend to a higher form of existence, so Edward, Mustang, Scar, Armstrong and others team up to take him down. They use all their special skills to weaken Father. Mustang's firepower, Edward's alchemy knowledge and Armstrong's strength help chip away at Father's defenses along with the rest of the army. But not before Father showed how truly terrifying he really was. In the end, their teamwork does pay off. The fight is amazing in every aspect, from the choreography to the sounds to the visuals. The build-up was perfect, and so was the climax to the fight. Team-ups rarely get better than this one. Coming in at number 2, we have a fight from One Piece when the Scabbards face off against Kaido. Technically speaking, Kaido had the largest number of heroes going after him during the entire arc, but this specific team-up was when the Scabbards united to fight against him. The Scabbards had the longest history with Kaido as he took their homeland from them, and it was poetic justice for them to face him. They were driven by their deep resolve for revenge and justice, faced off against the seemingly invincible Kaido, who possessed immense power as a Yonko. Despite their incredible teamwork and unwavering determination, the Scabbards were outmatched by Kaido's overwhelming strength. They valiantly fought against him, landing impressive blows and displaying incredible resilience, but it was just too much in the end. The Scabbards even mimicked Oden's attacks, but unlike Oden, they never made Kaido feel pain. The fight was still a gorgeous sight to behold, considering the killer animation and the music. Even if the Scabbards lost, Kaido still had stronger people coming for him. And at the top of our list, we have the team up against Madara by the Shinobi Alliance in Naruto. This fight marked the pinnacle of the Fourth Ninja War as ninja from all villages put aside their differences and banded together. Unfortunately though, the person who ended up against them was a resurrected Madara Uchiha, the person only second to the god of Shinobi. The Alliance's coordination and synchronized attacks were remarkable. Each ninja showcased their unique abilities and skills, launching a relentless assault on Madara. But it's Madara we're talking about here, and he just straight up started a massacre. Madara proved to be too big of an obstacle for everyone to climb, and the moment he got into the war was marked as one of the most amazing entries any villain had ever made in the history of anime. The largest team-up was required to combat the second strongest ninja, and everything was masterfully done, from the choreography to the intensity of the fight. It's nostalgia and awesomeness all in one. And with that, we're wrapping up this list of the top 21 moments when everyone teamed up to fight the villain in anime. There are numerous moments in anime where the heroes team up to fight, so we must have missed out some of your favorites. Don't keep us hanging though. Be sure to comment down below any team-ups you think should have made it to this list. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so we can make more of this juicy content. See you next time.